this person that I am just so super duper excited to introduce to the line tonight, guys. He is no stranger to the Empire. He actually is family, okay? We actually just had his wife on the call not too long ago. They are a freaking power couple. I look to them just in several aspects for mentorship in several aspects of my life. I admire their relationship with each other. I admire the huge team that they built. I admire their leadership. So this guy right here is definitely somebody that I listen to and somebody I trust to have my team to listen to as well. And as you can see, Darren and Sarah trust him as well, hence to why he's on this call. Because if you guys don't know, we won't just bring anybody on this call, okay? So this guy, he has been in this company for, I believe, 3 or 4 years now. He's definitely going to share his story. But he was actually in the Air Force before World Ventures, you guys, as a pilot. And I definitely don't want to give too much of his story away, but you guys, he retired in 2013 from that. And fast forward, he is at the top rank of our company as an international marketing director, training all around the world, just leading the masses and inspiring people, sharing his story, and just moving people to action. So I'm super duper excited. This guy has been on the Super Fly Tour, and if you guys don't know what the Super Fly Tour is, pretty much a lot of the top end, well, not a lot, but a select few, chosen few, the international marketing directors, a part of our company, they have gotten this huge, like, fancy tour bus, and they literally have been on tour, going all around the country, hitting different cities, sharing and painting the vision of what is about to happen with our company with World, or already happening with our company with World Ventures 2.0, introducing the Dream Trips Local, the Fly Card, and just really showing us what is about to happen with World Ventures 2.0. So that says a lot about this guy, the fact that he was amongst those chosen few that had the opportunity to be a part of this Super Fly Tour, you guys. That is major in itself. So I'm just so excited to introduce to you guys International Marketing Director Randy Webb. Did you make the line?
I did. Can you hear me, Tiffany?
Yes, I can. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for joining us tonight. You are such a beast. I know you've been on the Super Fly Tour, and, you know, our empire has been growing so fast, and we got a lot of new blood on the line right now, and some people might not have had the opportunity to hear your story. So if you could just start us off by sharing your story, I would greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely, Tiffany. First of all, thank you guys once again for having me on the call. It's always a blessing to share my story, and I hope that this story, you know, touches someone's heart. I know there's someone on here that is going to relate to what I've been through, but I want you guys to title this one as, you know, through struggle and adversity comes growth. Through struggle and adversity comes promotion. So if you are going through a struggle in your life right now, there's things that you prayed for and it just didn't come to you immediately. Well, it wasn't like you thought it was going to come. Just understand it's God saying, oh, I'm going to give it to you, but I'm going to make sure when I give it to you, you're going to stay and you're going to grow in it. So in my story, folks, I've seen World Ventures literally, it's going on 5 years now. I hit 5 years in January. It's crazy how time has went. And I just want to take you back way before World Ventures, because now I look back to everything I'm going through up until this point, which allowed me to become a great leader, a great international marketing director in this company, especially during the hard times. And in my entire life, starting from 19, I think that's where my real story starts at when it comes to leadership, because I realized I prayed for a lot of things, but sometimes I didn't understand what I was praying for. But what happened was everything I've ever prayed for, God has given to me. Not just given, I had to grow into it, but he was taking me through a scenario where he understood that I need a little bit of growth. I needed to wait, but once I got there, I understood, oh, okay, I get it. That's what I had to go through to get there. So, folks, taking you back to when I was 19 years old, you know, born and raised Compton, California. I come from very humble beginnings. I'm very grateful for where I'm at right now. I had my first kid, my daughter, at the age of 19 years old. She's actually 19 to date, you know, first year in college. And I look back to when that happened. I remember, you know, being a young kid, 19, having my own apartment, in a relationship. And there was one incident that happened to me where my wallet got stolen. I couldn't even pay my rent. and I got evicted from my apartment. And sometimes we think, why are these things happening to us? Why me? Why me? And I thank God today, thank you that it happened. Because if it didn't happen, it wouldn't have pushed me out of my comfort zone to get to the point where I'm at today. You see, I got evicted from my apartment, had to move back in with my mom at the age of 19 years old. It forced me to go look at some other things. And at that time, I started looking at the military. None of my family came from the military, so it forced me to look at the military because I needed somewhere to go. I needed some more growth. I needed to take care of my daughter. And so, I looked and went down to the Air Force recruiter and just asked for a job. And my first job that I thought successful was being a police officer. That's what I seen in my neighborhood. So I thought, hey, that would be an awesome job to have. So I was trying to become a police officer in the Air Force. And like I said, through struggle comes growth. I thought it was going to be nice and easy. I was going to sign up for the Air Force, come right in, get the job as a police officer, and that was it. Well, of course not. You see, I went down to the recruiter's office, saw the paperwork, and everything was all set to go. And, a couple weeks passed. I was supposed to head off to basic training. And I get a call from the recruiter later on that wasn't going to happen. But let me tell you, in the midst of all of that happening, what was going on in my life, I was taking my daughter at that time, who was 3 months old, to her well check in Long Beach, California. And I remember, me in the relationship I was in at that time, I got done with the well check for my daughter, and we were coming out of the hospital, and I seen this homeless man walking across my car. And as this homeless man was walking across my car, it looked like he's been on the streets for a very long time. He had a tall stature. Shoes were flapping. He is dirty. He gets in the middle of my car, and I just keep on looking at him because he has this familiar face. And as he's passing my car, he gets to the corner of it. I'm still looking at. He's kind of hunched over his back, and as he pulls past my car, I'm able to pull out and turn right. And as I turn right, I turn to the right just so I can catch his face, and I still can't see him. So I move just a little bit in front of him and turn to the right at a 45-degree angle and realize it was my dad. You see, folks, I know God don't make mistakes. I ran into my dad out of millions of people in Southern California on the streets, homeless. 19 years old, I hadn't seen my dad in 10 years since I was 9 years old. My mom and him got into it, and he left and kind of never came back. And I found my father on the streets, and I hopped out the car, and at this time I'm just crying like crazy because I cannot believe it. And I'm like, Dad, Pops. He goes, hey, boy, like nothing's wrong. And I'm like, Pops, what's going on? He goes, nah, boy, I'm just hanging. I'm just getting by. And I go and embrace him and hug him, and I only got $20 in my pocket. Mind you, I don't have a lot. I'm trying to get by myself. I'm supposed to head off to the Air Force. And, I'm boo-hooing. I'm crying. I hand my father $20. I said, all right, Pops, I didn't know what to do from there. Young kid, 19. I hopped back in the car. I had never, my wife at the time, I'll say, I had never talked about my father. It was just, I just forgot about it. Hop back in the car, and I'm crying all the way home. And I get home to my mom, and I say, Mom, I just seen Dad, and he's homeless. She said, why didn't you get him? And I said, I don't know. I didn't know what to do. And so long story short, I dropped my family back home, and I get back out, roll all the way back down to downtown Long Beach, and I look for my father, and I'm looking for him all night, and I cannot find him whatsoever. I hit every street, one-way streets, up one street, down the other street, and I cannot find him whatsoever. And I remember this moment right here taught me how to be a man, taught me how to pray, right? Taught me how to pray with expectations. And I remember going home that night and literally hopping on my knees and praying to my father and saying, please, if I find my dad, I'll take care of him. I find my dad, I'll make sure he'll never be in that situation again. I don't know what happened, but you just give him to me one more time, God, and I promise you I'll take care of him. And this whole time, I'm looking for my dad, and I can't find him whatsoever. A week has passed, can't find him. And then I get that call from the recruiter. And the recruiter goes, Randy, you're not going to be heading off to basic training. We got some things on your record that we got to clear up. You see, born and raised Compton, California, I was a pretty good kid, but you're going to get in some trouble. You're going to get in some trouble being in Compton, California. So I got some trouble in my youthful days, and we had to clear that up, and it was going to take about a month or so. And so they pushed back my basic training date about a month. And this whole time, in between that whole time, I'm looking for my dad. We're working on the military deal. I can't find him whatsoever. And then I get a call from the recruiter say, hey, okay, we got everything cleared up. We're going to get your moral waiver. You're set to go. You'll be able to head off to the Air Force, and they give me the date. I need you to come down to the office down here in Long Beach so you can fill out your paperwork. And so I go down to the recruiter's office, and I'm filling out my paperwork, everything I need, sign some papers. She goes, all right, you're going to be heading off. And I'm happy. And the crazy part is, you see, God always works where you know it's him. And as I'm walking out of the recruiter's office, right across the street is my dad sitting on a brick, like a brick sidewalk, drinking water. And I run over to him and I grab him and I say, "Hey, Pops," and I call my uncle up, who's his brother, and I said, "I just found my dad. Can I bring him over to the house? I got to head off to basic training in a couple of days." And I take my dad over to my uncle's house, get him all cleaned up. I go buy some jeans with the little money that I do have, and I head off to basic training. And the reason I tell that story, because that's a pivotal moment in my life that it always takes me back to God is always with me. Because there's been moments in my life through my entire journey, this 18-year journey, that we have questions. Why me? Or is God really there? Or is he with me? And he's always there because sorry about that. He's always shown me he's been there because he delivered my father to me, and I know that. But go off the basic training, get all that stuff done, folks, and then here's where some other struggle. See, everything that I went through struggle, always promoted me. I didn't become a security forces officer, which would be a police officer in the Air Force. They gave me another job, which gave me a bonus. I was a radar technician. And I'll tell you why that job became pivotal in the moment, because in that job, you guys know these folks, in that job being a radar technician, is when I got the heart to want to become a pilot. It's when that set in my heart, because my job was to pretend to be its pilot and train the air battle managers how to control pilots in the air, where to send them at. And also in that career field is where I met a lot of my friends that I spend time on yachts with today, like Megan LaBuglio, Tony LaBuglio, Maurice Jones, James Johnson. See, all those names, had I not got that call from the recruiter, had that not happened with my father, I wouldn't have an IMD on my team right now by the name of Tony LaBuglio. I wouldn't have a national marketing director on my team named Maurice Jones. I wouldn't have a director on my team named James Johnson. I have so many other folks that are on my team that came from that career field. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to become a police officer. But God knew better. You see, he was already 18 years ahead of me before I even knew it, folks. Do you understand where I'm coming from? See, sometimes we don't even know what we want and the pathway that God is setting for us, but what being faithful means is this. I didn't get what I want, but if I'm faithful, I know that God is going to give me what I want. I just don't know it yet. He was setting a plan for me literally 18 years before I knew it. And I got that pilot thing set in my heart, and I'm gonna tell you where that struggle came from. And what I had to do to become a pilot in the Air Force, you got to get your degree. Guess what, folks? While I was also in California, I was trying to do my first year in college, and guess what? My first year in college, there's a lot going on in my life. I had my kids, my daughter got a 1.0 GPA in college, so didn't finish my first year. That was done. But here's what happened. When I joined the Air Force paid for my degree, and I got my degree within the first 3.5 years of being in the Air Force. I had a focus like no other. I wanted to be a pilot. See, what I heard when I got there is that the pilots, they ran the Air Force. They're the guys that become base generals. They're the guys that make all the decisions. I was like, man, I can do that. I want that. And the crazy part is when I started dreaming, I had people that were in my circle at the time. I was a young airman. And, yeah, airman, you're making, no more than like $400, $500 a week. That's where I came from. And so I'm talking about I want to be a pilot. I've never flown an airplane before. And they're looking at me like, dude, you're from Compton, California. You never even touched an airplane before. You can't become a pilot. You talking about being a base general. Dude, you're an airman. You see, they didn't see the vision I see. And sometimes people won't see your vision. Don't take that for granted. See, God didn't give them the vision. He gave you the vision. So when people don't see your vision, that's okay. It wasn't for them. It was for you. And what's for you is for you. They will lead behind you once you show them how to get it done. And so I just set the path. I said, I'm going to become a pilot. I got my degree in 3.5 years, and we would think that it just goes easy from there, but it's just not that easy. There's always a struggle before growth. So when I finished my degree, I had to take a test called the Air Force qualification test, Air Force Officer qualification test, which tests your math skills, your English skills, and all that good stuff. And, I took this test. You only can take it twice, and you're done. Well, you wouldn't believe. I took the test the first time, and I failed it. I did good in English. I did good on my English part, did good on the science part, and I failed. I did good on the math part, science part, and I failed the English. Through struggle and adversity comes growth. See, I've always been a fighter. and failing the test didn't make me say I'm not going to be an officer. I said I just got to do better. I got to study more. And from that adversity, what happened is I started studying from the dictionary. I said I just need to learn my vocabulary. I need to get better. I need to understand English. And so, cool. What I did was I made pretty much a book for myself to study from, and I made these multiple choice tests. And what happened when I made this book, it was literally 1,000 words that I learned that I can choose from. And through those 1,000 words, I took that test again probably a couple months later, and I passed it. And I said to myself, man, if this allowed me to pass the test, a lot of other people need this book. And so I turned around and I published that book. I made a book and I published it called Hierarchy Studyware in my 20s. And I'm going to tell you, see, through struggle comes growth. When I got ready to go apply for my officership, I was getting my package already, and there was a guy by the name of Mr. Colvin. He was known for getting guys to become an officer. He had a very good record. And when I finished my application, that book, Hierarchy Study, I remember telling him, hey, I published a book. That's what got me to pass my test. He said, you published a book? What? Let me see it. He looked through the book, and under the regulations, when you submit your officer package, they say don't put anything in your package except what we tell you to put in there. If you put anything else in that package, we are going to automatically reject your package and send it back to you. You won't be an officer. Well, Mr. Colvin goes, Randy, I want you to put the book in there. I said, Mr. Colvin says don't put the book in there. He says, son, put the book in the package. Just trust me. I said, all right. Now, also, when you get ready to send your package up, you can't just go up because you say you want to become an officer. You see, an officer has to approve it, either your squadron commander, your group commander, or your base commander. Now, on the base commander, they say if the base commander signs your officer package, you will automatically become an officer. Well, I had gained some prestige while I was in the Air Force. You see, every school I went through, I became a distinguished graduate. Inside the schoolhouse there in Panama City, every time I was an instructor and it came to being the top instructor, they always voted for me being the best instructor. I had gotten every award up until that point. I did some great things in the Air Force. And when it was time for my package to go up, I remember meeting General Eggington. He's the PACE general in Panama City. I said, I'm going to get him to sign my package. That's what's going to get me to become an officer. And here I had to go through a filter. I had to go through the chief master sergeant, which is like his assistant, the general's assistant. I had to see him first before I seen the general, even though I knew the general. And when I went to the chief master sergeant, I remember sitting in his office, and it was a very humbling moment for me, folks. This is what's some struggle here. This is what's some struggle to growth, and I'm going to tell you what came from this. See, the chief master sergeant already had his decision made when I stepped in that office. He had looked at my package. He didn't look at what I did in the Air Force. But what he did know is, hey, Randy Webb, I get it, you did some great things in the Air Force, but I looked at your past. And it looks like you got in trouble when you're at the age of 17 years old. And what the Air Force is doing right now, they're not accepting every package. You got to have a very clean record to become an officer in the Air Force. And I tried to explain to him, I said, I get it. I made some mistakes, but in the Air Force, man, I became a distinguished graduate. I was in Airman Leadership School. I was the very top graduate. I got the John Levitt Award, which is the highest honor you can get in the Air Force. And that didn't matter to him. What he said was, I'm not going to send your package up to the general. You can get the group to sign it, but General Eggington's not going to sign it. I never even got a chance to even step in the man's office. And I like to tell you folks, I walked out with my chest up, but I walked out with my head down. I was crying because at that very moment, the chief literally, I felt, was crushing my dreams. But I've always been a fighter. And I remember going down to my squadron commander and asking, what's next? Do I get you to sign it or can I get it to the group? And understand that day my package was supposed to go up. And if your package doesn't go up the time it's supposed to, once again, if you don't make it on the desk where it's supposed to be at, you're not going. Remember earlier, folks, I learned how to pray. I remember that day. I didn't know how it was going to happen because it was Thursday and my package was supposed to be up the next day. But I went home and hit my knees once again and prayed with expectations. And the next day I came back. They sent my package to the group. They said, most likely it won't come to Monday, so you're not even going to get your package up. But I remember Mr. Colvin called me up that afternoon and said, Randy, I got some good news for you. They just pushed the board back by 1 week. You'll be able to push your package up next week. See, what I know, through struggles comes promotion. See, when God is with you, no man can stop you whatsoever. You just got to have the faith and keep on walking. See, when I put my package to the group, when I'm going to go pick it up, there was a note on it by that chief, probably that I wasn't meant to see. But God wanted me to see it because he wanted me to know that he was working. And on top of that package, it said, hey, Colonel, this is Randy Webb's package. This is Randy Webb's package. We're not going to sign it up here at the base. But if you want to sign it, it's on you. He has a rocky past. He put all the bad stuff. You see, people that don't want you to succeed, they'll only see the bad, and they'll never will see the good. He put all the bad stuff, and you know what was so important to me? That colonel still signed that package anyway. That was the most important thing for me. Whether I got picked up or not, I was happy about that. That he said, you know what? So what? His past doesn't matter. I know the leader that he's going to be coming. He signed that thing. And at that moment, I knew that the Air Force was going to pick me up as an officer. So fast forward, my package went up. I did get picked up as a pilot. And here we are today, folks. I look back at all those things that happened to me. There was struggle throughout my entire life, even in pilot training. I went through struggle. You know, I didn't want to become a C-130 pilot. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I wanted to go to another base, but because, see, you never know what you want. God knows what you want. You don't know what you want. Out of pilot training, I wanted to become a fighter pilot. And had I become a fighter pilot, I wouldn't have went to Corpus Christi, Texas. Because down in Corpus Christi, Texas, that's where you fly C-12. They teach you how to become a C-130 pilot. But what's crazy, who was down in Corpus Christi at that time was my future wife. You all know her, Miss Wanda Webb. I met Wanda Webb, my wife, Wanda Gonzalez at that time, at a base I didn't want to be at, in an airframe that I didn't want. But God knew otherwise. And I went to Corpus Christi, met my wife, and we were going through struggle in that pilot course as well, too. And through that struggle of me going through pilot training where I almost got washed out, it made me look at other things. It made me look at entrepreneurship. It made me open my eyes to opportunity. Me and my wife started working our first business together in 2007 when we opened up a little swap meet store. God was getting us ready for this moment right now. Me and my wife were just talking about this. Getting us ready for this moment right now. You see, through struggle comes growth every single time. So now that I know that, I'm never scared. I'm never worried. I'm just saying thank you, God, for sending me through it, because I know you're getting me ready for something big, and I can't wait to see what you got in store for me. So, folks, what I'm telling you right now, if you're going through something you don't feel like going through, just celebrate in the moment, because God sees more in you, and you don't see it yet. Me and my wife joined World Ventures in 2013 because I got diagnosed with lupus in 2012 in the military, so we're going to have to retire you out. You won't be able to finish your career, but we will retire you. And I learned that my retirement wasn't going to go over to my wife, and I'm glad World Ventures got dropped in our lap January 2013. My wife's aunt and uncle called her up and showed her the deal. And my wife, if she was on right now, she would say, I expected to travel the world, but the only places Joe took me was to Abilene, Texas, and Little Rock, Arkansas. So we joined World Ventures because my wife wanted to go to Bora Bora. But when I looked at that comp plan, I looked at that all the way down to the bottom left of the income disclosure statement, said IMD, International Market Director, $1.1 million. Possibilities. And when I did research, my research was, let me find someone who's already done it. And I've seen all the success stories. I was in. And when I jumped in, folks, I went running fast. See, my struggle at that moment is I got diagnosed with discoid lupus. I could have accepted that diagnosis, or I could fight, and I chose to fight. And that's what's going to bring me to where I'm at today with my health run. So most of you see me working on and doing all these things, and all that goes back to 2013, folks. I'm fighting for life, period. I'm fighting for health. I'm fighting for generational wealth. We got involved with World Ventures. We had no network marketing experience whatsoever, but we had experience in struggle. We had experience in fighting adversity. We had experience in climbing as high as we can possibly climb, because we knew God has always been with us. In 2.5 years, we were able to hit international market director with no experience whatsoever. And I was fortunate enough I had a mentor come into my life right when we were hitting senior rep. His name is Eric Grisbowski, and I've always been coachable. And all I did was copy everything that man did. And because I copied exactly what he did, I didn't do my own thing. I copied exactly what he did because he already made it. We hit IMD in 2.5 years in this journey. And now let's fast forward to today, folks. IMD, we're pushing for double IMD. And what I know, of course, the company may be going through whatever it's going through. Through struggle comes growth. Understand, if you're going through it right now, the growth is coming. You see, World Ventures, what I know and what I've seen and who I've talked to, World Ventures today will be one of the largest companies. I didn't say largest network marketing company. I said largest companies in the world. World Ventures will be that because of the technology that we got, because of the product that we got, Folks, this is a $7 trillion industry. I'm talking about 12 zeros, and we have an opportunity to have market share if you're working right now. But if you're sitting in your feelings right now, you are going to miss the bus. You see, growth is only for those that are ready to fight, those who are ready to go against adversity. There is no one who wants to follow someone who had life easy. There's no such thing. You see, leaders come from adversity. Leaders lead everyone. They lead those who have been through adversity, those who have not. Leaders know how to climb the mountain regardless. They know how to improvise. And so if you can improvise in World Ventures, you are going to be one of the top earners in this company. You just got to keep on fighting. You got to keep on pushing. You got to stay focused. You got to have faith. You got to have belief. And guess what? Before you know it, through your struggle, through your adversity, comes growth and promotion. Let's get it. I know Empire Global, you guys are going to wreck this thing up. There's a lot of IMDs to be made. Let's get it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. IMD Randy Webb. Good God, I feel like I need to be standing at the church house saying the doors of the church are open because you just preached just now. So, I mean, literally, I have no questions for you because it's honestly nothing left to be said. I really, really appreciate you for sharing your story and just being so open with us about, you know, the situation with your father and just being so raw and vulnerable with us, telling us about these different adversities that you've had in your life and just showing us what is on the other side if you just go through it. So I can't thank you enough. I have so many notes. I mean, my phone is just going off with people talking about how you are crushing this call, and I'm just super grateful that you took time out of your workout time, because I know you putting in work in the gym right now, to just be with us tonight. So I just want to thank you. And you already know you're family to us, and we will have you on the call again in the future. So thanks again, Randy.
Thanks, Tiffany. You guys have a wonderful. Let's get it.